welcome back to Flanks06 channel here, doing a unboxing video basically on the rest of my board game wave pledge here. So to my right, I have the remaining items here from the Tanares Adventures campaign. Got, you know, the legendary box storage upgrade, some sleeves, game board, Medusa, and the upgrade pack for the Dragon collection. And then all this on the left here is everything for basically about the miniatures and cards pledge-ish of the Tanares RPG campaign. So I'll be going into deep detail on each of these as I did last time, and we'll be talking about them more. We are starting with the Arena of the Contest Tanares Adventures campaign material here. So starting off, we got a massive pack of all the 1,000 sleeves, and I mean, it's sleeves, so I'm not really sure how much there is to really say more than the sleeves. I may talk about them in like another video where we can like see how they fit and within like the storage organization and that, because I know that's come up a lot. But basically, you should have enough sleeves to fit everything that comes from the Tanares Adventures campaign. If you did not get the 750 sleeve pack that is part of this next section for the Tanares RPG, you may not have enough to sleeve everything. So I've mentioned this before in previous videos, and some people may have missed it, but just so you guys know, that's what's going on with the sleeves. Okay. Next up here is Map Pack 2. I will move the legendary box here and this out of the way a quick second so you guys can see what the two new boards look like. Alright, so we should have this board right here is the Arachne Lair. This was one of the stretch goal, well, not actually, I think it was the community selected one that people wanted. So it's got spiders, and it's actually a lot more high definition than the first map pack. It is pretty cool looking. I think people really like it, especially for like if you use this as a D&D session board. It'd be pretty cool. You got all the spiders over here running around. Okay, and then on the back side, for people that don't know what this is the Boss versus Boss board. So if you own the Dragon collection, they tell you the map and give you the details on how to build the map. If you bought Map Pack 2, which this of course is, you have the map already made here. You don't need to build it yourself. So one team dragon goes here, the other dragon goes there, and then the players will kind of be battling between the lairs and this open area in the midfield to basically, you know, try to kill the other dragon. And anyway, so this is the Boss versus Boss map, and that is the first board here of Map Pack 2, and try to fold it the right way. Next up is the second Map Pack board. Start with this side, a little less exciting. This is the Frozen Tundra board, I think, which was also something that maybe people wanted, like different type of landscapes, and so this is exactly what you guys are getting here. So if you're running a winter campaign, or you know, you're and it's actually kind of funny because there is ice tiles now, and this already kind of looks icy. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how, you know, maybe people will play with that, because there is actually a rule for ice tiles, even though this is kind of like an ice, snowy, short sort of type of board. So anyway, that is that board. And then the last one here, this is the community one that was selected. This is the tavern, and basically it's like the dojo training center. So you have one inside area here, another one there, And then you have a lot of different tile types. I think this one is a pretty awesome board. There's a lot of new terrain tiles here. We got like these void zones, and then the planar rifts, which can move people around. So we're getting a lot of different type of ability to use this in PvP. Still get some lava. These are essentially the equivalent of spikes. These are ice tiles. So you even got the koi that are frozen in there. But anyway, so this will be interesting to see how this map works out in PvP. Maybe we'll use it in our next tournament. All right, so that is the boards. And the next item here we will go to is the legendary box storage upgrade. So remember, this is the upgrade. This is not the normal legendary box. So this one will not come with all the miniatures. What it comes with is upgraded campaign tome. So the one that came for everyone else that had 1.5 changes, it's got that in there. Same thing with the rule book and the quest guide. And then we have some of the new generic token pieces here that can be used. And these are all the hex ones. And then we have the new portal tiles that have a blue on one side, red on the other. So it makes it a little easier if we're going to do boss versus boss. And then you'll see here we got this is the core tray. And so the reason why I'm just going to kind of quickly look at these. So we got 3 different trays here and then a 4th tray at the bottom. And let's talk about what that really is for. So for people that maybe are unsure what these are, we have Hero Pack 1 and Hero Pack 2. Hero Pack 1, many people may not actually have this one at all. If you got the new Arena the Contest core box, this is already included in your core box. You will not receive this separately because you already have it, so you don't need this. This was only for returning backers, and now we will be able to put these in this tray here instead of having a whole separate box that takes up space. Same thing here with Hero Pack 2. Heroes will go in this tray, I believe, here, and then they will be able to be stored appropriately now instead of a whole separate box. And then the last thing, oops, and I'm putting them all on the wrong one, is, I believe it is this tray here is meant to store the Imperial box. So there's probably people that have never even seen this box before, but basically the Imperial box plus the Heroes and Dungeons box, which I actually have behind me in some of my videos that you've seen earlier. But this has all of and I'm going to have some painted and unpainted stuff in here, but basically these are all the stretch goals that were from the original campaign, and basically people have already gotten in the legendary box. Well, that gets stored in here now. So now you are reducing the amount of additional boxes that you have, and then all of those heroes and dungeon terrain pieces will then all go down here along with I believe like the Balroth and other ones. So I'll probably do a put together of how that all looks at some point, but it is in our enhancement document as well. So that way you don't have to sit through an entire video to watch it. You can just look at the enhancement. Okay, and then next we will look here at the Medusa and the updated Dragon Collection. All right, welcome back here. So we are going to open the Medusa add-on here. So people had to purchase this separately from the Tanares Adventures campaign. So unfortunately mine came with her tail broken. So I'll probably just glue it back on because I don't think it's going to be that bad. You can see exactly where it came off there. But if you get yours broken, you can try doing that as well if you'd like. Of course, you can, if you really don't want to deal with it as well, you can also just email us at contact@dragorygames.com, And we will, of course, fix that for you and send you one that is not broken. But anyway, so this is the Medusa here. She is a character that has some pretty cool ability to kind of control the positioning of enemies. And she's also got a pretty awesome permanent ability here to basically give one of her petrifying gaze ability to another hero, even if she dies. So it's kind of a fun one there here with the Medusa. So you have her pad there, and then here are her cards. I did not unwrap these, but basically this last card here is going to be her hero card. And of course you can use her in Tanares Adventures. All right, so let's go to the last items here of the Tanares Adventures campaign. So we have this is the updated Dragon Collection pack, basically. So there's been some confusion on this, but basically what it is Dragori decided to just send this to everybody, regardless of if you're getting it from the first wave or you're getting it just now. Everyone will get this pack. That was actually done because there was a possibility that somebody could receive the old one and not get the new version. So this just makes sure that everyone should get the new version if you ordered the Dragon Collection. So this is the Boss versus Boss rulebook, and it is now updated here. You'll notice that there is now the new dragons here. Penumbral, Isidin, Dread, and then all the new characters are added here. So it is updated with the new heroes, as well as there is the essentially the advanced and non-advanced rules. So when the book first came out, it's a solid system. It's just that it requires a lot of knowledge up front to play. So there's quite a bit of a learning curve. So now there is the advanced rule markers here, which is all this purple that you see. Basically, that means that is optional. You don't have to play with that to play boss versus boss. So it can make your experience of playing boss versus boss a little simpler and easier to get started instead of kind of just getting, have to redo it all. And then we have updated cards here along with the Dragon Queen here has updated cards. So there's individual ones here, and then boss versus boss cards. You'll notice that this one here has that miniature, which in the original version did not have that miniature. There was also a few other mistakes on this one. So any of these are now fixed, and you got new components to basically replace the ones that you got in the Dragon Collection. So make sure to kind of go piece by piece to make sure you have everything and that you're not accidentally throwing out something that you had before. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the updated Dragon Collection and all of the Tanares Adventures campaign items for my pledge. If you are curious about like the core box from the revised core box, I did do like an unboxing quite some time ago when Wave 1 came out, and so you can kind of see that. Maybe if people want to see some of the stretch goal miniatures in a future video, I can do that as well. But anyway, that is it. We'll move on to Tanares RPG. Next, into the Tanares RPG campaign items. Remember, this is only for board game items. All right, so we got the 750 sleeve pack here. Originally, Dragori was not going to send these. They decided to change their mind and send it anyway, even though the RPG hasn't fully completed, but at least you got something here. So if you do not have a sleeves, it's probably because you didn't get this pack here as additional sleeves. So it has more there for all the Tanares RPG specific miniatures and cards. All right, so we are going to move all of these over here to the side. And now we're going to start here with Dread, the first ungod. He is the Penumbral Tarrasque, as well as known by. And this is the painted version. So, wow, this thing is big, that is for sure. just the box out. So we'll put that here. And just gonna pop him out. This is definitely a big boy here with all that tentacle glory that you've all been dying for, I'm sure. So this bad guy here specifically is used in the Time Twist campaign. So that is where you will face him. And of course that comes if you got the miniatures and cards pledge. Then you will get that separately, and that comes in the Penumbral Pack, so we'll see that later here. But anyway, this is the Penumbral Tarrasque. Pretty awesome detail. I do like, you know, of course he's got this like ruined stone area here with the destroyed statues and just kind of looking pretty terrifying. In terms of the colors, he's a little reflective, I would say. Maybe they might have put a slight metallic over it. Kind of a mix of purples, greens, yellows. There's even some kind of pink up here. We have purples. Anyway, so this guy is definitely full of lots of tentacles. Definitely probably a little more difficult to paint. Like, for example, this area right down here is basically just, I don't think it's even, it's hard to tell. It doesn't even look like it's actually connected here. It's just that it's a very tight area. Same thing with here. So you'd have to kind of do this kind of thing to hold it up to be able to paint it. So that could be a downside if you get the unpainted version. All right, so that is the Penumbral Tarrasque. He does not come with his cards. Those should be coming in the Penumbral Pack, I believe. Okay, so now we are going to get to some of the different packs. We have the character pack here, part of the miniatures and cards pledge. And of course, you know, plenty of the all-in pledges there. We have our hero pads for our new heroes like Mbolo and Kiliana. And we have new villain cards, level 4, that will be part of the Epic campaign, or the Time Twist campaign. And each of these guys actually get different effects that don't exist in Tanares Adventures. So you're even getting a much more complex, or at least unique gameplay experience here with more villains being added. And then of course we have the heroes cards here. Kellyanna's got some pretty cool abilities to kind of I believe she can basically give back some like specials of other characters. And Mbolo here is a pretty awesome tank actually, and he can do some pretty good damage, but he can prevent somebody from dying with his interrupt ability, which is pretty awesome. So I like Mbolo. If you saw my Tanares RPG video that we did quite some time ago, I played him as my character. So we have the Curus here. This is the male Curus with his, looks like he's a dual wielding, and then he comes with one set of wings here that you can then attach to him. So they got a little keen there. And this is actually meant to come in and out because as the character like levels up, they can basically get the wings and be able to fly. So that is by design there. Next up here, and I will go through at least any of the ones that are unique ones, and then we'll, so that way I'm not taking out like redundant ones already. Okay, so this here is a Gloomfolk. This is the female Gloomfolk character here. So she is basically half scorpion, half human. The Gloomfolk exist in basically, I think, the Penumbral Plane, which is kind of probably why they're very, you know, sort of weird looking here. But I think they are actually kind of a peaceful race. They're just trying to survive in the Penumbral Plane, which is a pretty hostile environment. Anyway, she's got some. Oh man, I always forget the names of these, like chakram or something like that. They're pretty cool blades. And then Pretty little pointy, and she's on like a little floaty stand, so that way she actually appears like she's standing from her legs. So that's pretty cool. Remember, all of this pack will actually fit in the Penumbral Pack. Okay, we got Umbolo here. Look at this beast, man. He's got some bags there on his side, some detailed armor. He's got his big mace, and of course that shield. Just look at that shield. Very well detailed. And the Umbolo tank. Pretty awesome. He is part of the Tamaku race, which is another race that was developed for the RPG. They're kind of industrious type people. In fact, here is a Tamaku character with his like toy invention. So these are going to be great characters to have in playing the RPG. You can kind of have them show up if you want to in the board game, but they're not really needed. These are kind of just, I'd say, additional characters, as they don't really play like a... actually, now that I think about it, there is a quest specifically with this character, I think, in Tanares RPG. So he does. There is some situations of it. Of course, you don't have to own this if you didn't order it. So, but you can still play that quest even without the character. All right, here is the male Gloomfolk character. He's a very aggressive stance, and man, that is quite the weapon he is using. It is a little bit funny because I don't know if this was bent this way on purpose or if this is just specific to this one. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So it is just this specific piece. So I can get that bent back with some hot water and be able to get it in place. But this is the male Gloomfolk. He is ready to take down some penumbral monsters that are attacking his town. All right, then we are going to move on to the Soulborn. This, I believe, is the female Soulborn character. We don't have quite as much information yet on these on this race yet, but they are kind of a special race that I think have a pretty deep history. The same thing with the Cuirass, actually. The Cuirass, which we saw here, were the race that existed basically right after the angels and demons were banished from Tanares. So I think these ones might be some of the older ones. I know the Cuirass for sure. The Soulborn, I'm a little less sure on their history yet. I'm, of course, learning it as well. But anyway, this is the female Soulborn. This is the male Soulborn here. He's got a, looks like a whip ready to go to town. And it looks like they all have like a book attached to them. So looks like the knowledge aspect is probably pretty important. He's got some pretty long like dreads here. Pretty awesome miniature. Anyway, so that is the male Soulborn. And let's go to the female Cuirass. So she also could get the wings as well, but there is only one set. And that actually I think was designed that way because of at least the Time Twist campaign. Maybe it could be possible to somehow get other ones in the future, but anyway, that's pretty much it. You're only going to get one at least in this pack here. So this is the female Cuirass. And this is actually, I don't know, this one might be my favorite one here. This is the female Tamaku. She looks like she's summoning a snake from her wand, and it's kind of like wrapping around her. Her face detail is probably the part that looks a little the most disappointing. There's not really much detail there. I know they're kind of a little funny looking even when you look at some of the art, but Maybe that's the one part that's really kind of lacking in this miniature, but I do really like the sculpting of this like snake that's kind of coming out. In fact, it seems kind of like a trend with some of our miniatures, because we also have, I think it's Avalon has like a dragon head that's coming out of his, and then we have Zond who has like also a dragon that's coming out. Apparently, we like summoned animals. All right, and then we have Kellyanna here, who is blue because she is a shooter, while Umbolo there was a tank character, so that is why he was gray. So Kellyanna holding a flame effect there with like a mace or something with a big long flowing cape, some detail on there. And even actually some detail at the kind of the edge strip of her cloak. And then she even has a sword right down there as well. So could be a little bit of work to paint. Man, my wife is just going to be so busy. She's not going to have any time for anything anymore. Okay, so that is the character pack. Like I said, I'll be showing more of those. But this is just to kind of, we'll show them getting all packed up. But this is just to kind of show just one of them at least from each of the packs. All right, class pack here. This one basically is the one that has most of the actual heroes of the game, or at least Tanares RPG. So of course we have our hero pad, Gaknak, the red dragon blade. There you go, my boy Tyson. And we have Jessa there on the back. So she is I believe she's the female redeemer, basically. So let's start here with Gaknak, the red dragon blade. Of course, I mentioned this in my last video, but basically because of the color, you're not going to be able to see a lot of the details super well. Just because of like the coloring. Really everything here that you're seeing is going to look so much better once you can get some paint on it. But Gaknak there, he's quite the book guy, as you can see down here. He's got like a stack of books and relics and things here, but he is in like full plate armor with a big dragon shield and his sword, ready to go to town. Gaknak's got a pretty cool hero card ability where he takes a little bit of damage, but then he can basically move and do a basic attack. And so maybe we'll show that at some point to just look at some of the hero cards. But anyway, that is Gaknak, the Dragon Blade. Next up here is Balmu. He is the male Mad Walker character, so the kind of a sort of equivalent of Ravel. Not quite crazy about this miniature. Just there's not a lot going on. He kind of just looks a little ordinary with a dagger, so maybe not super excited about that. There is a little bit of detail here or there. I think a little more work could have been improved on Balmo there. But all right, let's move on to Sheeran here. He is the male Redeemer who is a healer in Tanares Adventures. And so you can kind of see he's got two different types of the flame effects. And that's basically how Redeemers work, is a combination of your getting that payoff between, it's like a healing, but then maybe taking some damage in some way or the other way around. He's got a little treasure chest down there as well, because Redeemers use currency or gold to power their abilities in the world of Tanares. All right, next up, get him out, is Azrael, the water elementalist. This is actually one of the miniatures that I was most excited for, just to see the sculpt of him originally, because he's got this massive water elemental dragon that is coming out around him that he is summoning. And just very cool, fun looking miniature. Again, people have a lot of capes in the worlds of Tanares. You gotta have a cape to exist here. There's a little bit of separation on these parts here, but You could probably put some of the goo stuff in there to kind of soften that some. But anyway, this is Azrael here. Definitely a lot of fun character in Tanares Adventures with his hero ability. Oh no! Oh no, my Ravel has also... Well, it's not that bad. She just fell off her post, that's all. So Ravel fits inside of here. Basically. I think she's supposed to like do this kind of thing. And she has fallen technically off of her base. But who knows? I mean, I guess this could make it a little easier to paint just this one by itself, too, if we wanted to do that. But maybe not all bad. Anyway, so this is Ravel. She is the female Mad Walker. The Mad Walkers are pretty awesome because they go into the Penumbral Plane and basically... are kind of making themselves go a little bit insane to get some of the raw power from the Penumbral Plane. They can turn into aberrations and things like that, at least in the RPG. In Tanares Adventures, Ravel has the ability to basically cause everybody, enemies at least in 5 of her, and be able to take their permanent or any of their effects and basically get those benefits for herself. So she is a very powerful character. You got to be very careful around her. All right, now we have Sedura, one of our main hero cast members of Tanares Adventures. Just a note, you can play her, of course, if you want. There's some story inconsistencies because you're helping Sedura so much in the game. So she's holding lightning here. I know people were a little confused as what's going on, but that's basically what it is. She is a dragon blade like Gaknak, but she has a different dragon avatar, where Gaknak is like a fire and she's the lightning dragon. So that is Sedura, but you can still play her in Tanares Adventures. Just you have to be aware of those story inconsistencies. But otherwise, yeah, great character here. She is a tank. All right. This one, I always forget what her name is. So we have Jessa here, and then this one, and now I'm forgetting what her name is. Of course, I'll figure it out later. But this is one of the other shooters. So I know some people thought that maybe like shooters were missing basically when they got Tanares Adventures. Unfortunately, with the way that like Dragori... Oh, look, there's some pretty cool detail here in the base. I like that. It's a little more interesting than just kind of a flat base that some of the other ones have. And some kind of like spikes coming out. But anyway, there is basically 2 shooters here. So that character, and then Jessa here, who basically kind of make up for that, along with Kellyanna. Oh, wow, her book is actually like, it's hanging out like with her cloak or something. It's wrapping around. I guess that's one way to, hold your book. Especially with your hands are busy with spells up here. Probably a little bit easier to kind of go around there. And she's got some butt cheeks there. look at the guys are working hard. Getting those sculpts done. All right, so that is the class pack there for Tanares RPG. And hopefully here, be able to see that. Let's do the villain pack next. As this was also part of the Miniatures and Cards pledge. Of course, we have hero pads there with Cordal, the Juggernaut, which Cordal, of course, was the boss from the original Arena of the Contest campaign. And then we have the Ninja on here. Blah. Okay, so the Ninja character... I believe her name is, here it is, Suyoko, the Ninja. I can't show you because this is still in the cellophane wrap here, but basically her card is the only one that's different. If you flip her card over, it has another side, because our ninja here, basically she, for most of the campaign, she counts as a controller. But when you unlock this character and you use her in quests, you can flip over her card and then she can be a tactician. So that's actually the reason why you see tactician on this side here. Same thing, if you flip over her hero pad over here, this will be, one side is tactician and one side is controller. And those primary abilities are different between that. So, and the passives are different. Same thing with her hero card, they will be different as well. But here is the ninja character. She was one of the final stretch goals of the Tanares RPG campaign. And look at her in a high kick kind of swinging move. It seems like it might be a little difficult to kind of kick and swing your weapon at the same time, but you know, she's a ninja, so whatever. You can do that kind of thing. Oh, here we go. Thank you. So we have the card here of tactician, and on the other side is the controller. You also know that her art is also slightly different. Because when she changes sides, she also changes clothes. So, you know, that's normal. All right, next up here is Varant. The Mastermind, I believe, is his title. But basically, this is the Ed Greenwood designed character, who is also a character in Tanares Adventures. And he is pretty awesome ability. He's got a weird ability where basically if he gets killed, he can decide to resurrect himself. So just because you kill him once doesn't necessarily mean it is the end of this character. He is a controller. Is that a little dirt or maybe some, like, I don't know, impurities or something when they printed this one. But anyway, this is Varant here. He's got this like magical, I'm not even exactly sure what that is. It looks almost like a lightning or magic effect that's wrapping around him. Alright, so we'll go to Cordal, which I mentioned already. The main villain here of Arena of the Contest. So if you are playing Arena of the Contest, of course you can use this character to represent Cordal instead of the standard miniature, Warlord miniature, which was kind of one of the intents of this box. But he is yellow because he's also a bruiser character. And you can play him as a hero in Tanares Adventures. And he also, of course, would have story inconsistencies because he's technically already dead. So, but that doesn't really stop you from playing him. And from what I've seen of the game so far, it doesn't really impact that much. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly look at these, just because these are the spiders that we got in Tanares Adventures, and I believe it's the identical miniatures, it's just that there's more of them. And there's a reason that you're getting those. There's 2 of them specifically because our next hero here, Gazzini, the vampire lord, basically, or Gazzini Daddy, as some people know him in Discord, is the second boss of Arena of the Contest. So you can also, you know, play him in that as well, or as a Tanares Adventures hero. So same thing as Cordal. Where you can play them, but there will be story inconsistencies. But anyway, this is Gazzini. One of his coolest abilities is that he gets to summon these spiders, and basically they run from outside the board, and then they explode on the enemies. So that's pretty cool. And these extra goblins here, these ones actually do belong to Cordal. It's similar. He gets to summon goblins who are not actually combatants, but they kind of take up a space on the board, so you can't really attack them or anything. But Cordal can use his 2 abilities to move them around, and then when they are around, they basically do damage to enemies that are near. All right, and then the last enemies here are all bad guys from Arena of the Contest here. It's been quite some time since I played, so I don't necessarily remember all of them here. I think this is one of the skeletal lords here. We have the Ebaton, I believe. from Arena of the Contest as well. He's got some big chains. He did actually have some artwork from the game, and it might even be in the Tanares Adventures rulebook as well. But he has kind of been seen around. It's just he didn't have a miniature, so now he has his own miniature. And then this is also another boss character here from Arena of the Contest. So of course you can use all of these guys in Arena of the Contest, or of course your RPGs as bad guys, because these guys are pretty good stand-ins for, you know, whatever kind of RPG you want to do. And then the last here we have the Shield Golem, who is also a boss in Arena of the Contest. Very thick armor, very spiky. Got to have the spiky armor, guys. And then and he's actually kind of looks a little bit like a rhino or something, because he's got the big horn just on his head. And then mace over there. So this is the Shield Golem in Arena of the Contest, and then of course you can use in RPGs. But otherwise, these characters don't really show up in Tanares Adventures, mostly just Arena of the Contest. Okay, so that is that is the villain pack. We'll just take one out there so people can see that. Go like this type of thing. And let's move on to the next box. Okay, the next is the Mystical Pack. So this was free for returning backers of previous campaigns. And if you got basically like the super all-in, you got this basically included. But otherwise, if you're a returning backer, you should be able, or you should have been able to get this if you didn't already. So it has the redone Haran, who is now called Haran the Doppelganger, no longer the Shapeshifter. And then we have the back of this looks the same, but the front is different. This is the Glorious Emperor, who is now a commander. So we have their hero pads, we have their attack cards. So these are much improved than what they were before. You can use them in Tanares Adventures with the Emperor, though there will be some story inconsistencies. Here is Haran. The detail, it's a very bright orange, so it probably won't come out quite as great like if you're just looking at it normally. There's a little indentation in there on the cape. Like I said, everyone has to have a cape in the world of Tanares, apparently. And but anyway, Haran now much more usable. Before he was a special hero, which basically made him ineligible to be used in the campaign of Arena of the Contest or Tanares Adventures. Next up here is the Glorious Emperor. His miniature definitely much improved. He's got this huge staff. He's still quite a beast in terms of his abilities. I do like a lot more of the detail on this one. It's, you know, I mean, it's not like crazy, but it is a lot better than what we had seen before. Maybe one day I'll do a comparison of the old Arena miniatures versus like all these reworked ones, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. That is the Emperor. And then here is his Tiger, who is absolutely awesome. It almost looks like a bear, honestly, with how freaking big it is. Anyway, so he is a commander. This is his companion here, which is his Tiger. And basically they go around and do, I think, a buttload of damage. All right, this here is Sarah. She is one of the main cast characters of Tanares Adventures. Also, she may show up in some quests, but she's not, you know, you don't really see her a lot on the board. You mostly just talk to her throughout the journal and the city book, but you'll do things for her. She's kind of a younger character who's a little bit unsure of herself, but she has quite powerful abilities to kind of foresee things that are coming and happening. So, all right, so that is Sarah. Next up, basically all these characters are characters from Tanares Adventures. Here is Herodrin, who is a dwarf character. There is kind of a history. I don't know how much I want to say quite about him, but he does have a royal lineage. And a lot of the story of him in the game is kind of like learning about that history. And he starts off as like a hermit, and you're kind of building that confidence back through the game. But this is Horadrim, one of the main cast characters of Tanares Adventures. And there is his miniature. And then we have Zalir, who is also one of the main cast characters. That is quite an epic book there. Like I said before in the Tanares Adventures unboxing, you have to have skulls on everything, just like everyone has to have a cape. Uh, anyway, so, and wow, even the book is like alive. There's like stuff coming out of the book as Zalir is using his powers. So he's kind of like a relic hunter. He knows a lot about like history of the world. He actually does. He is one of the characters you save in Arena of the Contest. So that is Zalir, and he comes back in Tanares Adventures to help you. So that is it for the Tanares Mystical Pack here. And let's move on to Isidin, the Gold Dragon. So this is, for Dragori, this is basically their, similar to how a lot of the heroes got reworked. The Gold Dragon is essentially almost like a almost reworked version of the Elder Dragon. It's a very, very large miniature with great detail, which we got here. So you'll notice that this is, same artwork as Arena of the Contest. Here is his boss versus boss pad, so you can use him in boss versus boss. Then we have his attack cards there, of course, that go with boss versus boss. And this is the painted version, which of course also has apparently I did not get lucky. This is like the third broken piece that I found. So one of his little claw pieces has fallen off. Oh wow, nope, the whole wing has broken off. Okay, so I will probably just have them, I can probably still glue this one back, but anyway, this is the Gold Dragon here. And then he comes with his flame base. Unfortunately, some broken pieces here on the Gold Dragon, but definitely still very well detailed. You definitely can see a lot of the gold on the character and on these wings. So it is a pretty awesome miniature, and the flame effect as well is really well done, it looks like. You still kind of get that translucent effect, but you're still getting that flame color. So it'll be a cool miniature. Just gotta get it fixed up here. Okay, so put that over there. Let's move on to the scenario pack. All right, looks like this is pretty much intact here. Of course, getting a so I've taken off all the cellophane so I could save you guys the time of seeing me take cellophane off of boxes, because this is probably not the first unboxing you've seen anyway at this point. So having me just open cellophane is not exciting. Anyway, so this is the scenario pack. Basically, this is a lot of that extra terrain and things that you can use in Tanares Adventures. You can use in the RPG. Oh no, I do have, wow! I think this is another potentially broken piece here. Yeah, it looks like one of the flag pieces has broken off there. Okay. Anyway, so this is a barricade here, which you do use in the game. Of course, it's as a tile, but you can use this here instead of using that. So I can't wait to set that up. This is basically like I believe it's a rubble square Well, actually, no, it's not a robo square. It's one that also I think might be like a barricade as well, but it's a squared shape version. So it's got a lot of different rocks and sticks and weapons and things jammed in there. You even have, you know, right, the flag. And it looks like, is it this one? I have no idea. I will have to find which one it actually. Oh wait, there's some more over here. So there's the bigger ones here, and it could be part of one of this group. Yeah. Wait. Yes. No, it's this one, because this piece has two, and this one looks like is missing one. In fact, you can see where it's broken down there. But anyway, so this is the squared barricade there. And look, oh, ooh, there's even skulls in there too. All right, so this is a lot of cool terrain that you'll be able to use in Tanares Adventures, of course, you know, in RPG as well. So that flips around over here, and I will deal with that later. Anyway, here is the portals there. So these you'll be able to actually place on the map as well. And the idea is your heroes can stand either, basically fill in the spots around here. So just like a standard portal, but now you have a terrain piece. So there is 4 portals in here that you'll be able to use. I do like these. I really want to see, let me see if I probably don't even have enough characters to actually see what it would look like. But I mean, theoretically, maybe you could fit. I mean, this guy's kind of a big one, and he's not really a hero, but still, you could theoretically maybe get 4 if everyone's rotated at the right direction. Anyway, so that is the portals there. The malign towers here is what these are called. They can also be used as fatigue trackers. So instead of using the fatigue squares, Dragori was like, oh, well, you could use these towers to kind of indicate that as well. I mean, really, you can use any of these if you want. I mean, you could use a pillar as the same thing if you want to. So there's not really like a reason. But anyway, these are pretty cool, well-detailed towers. We had talked about in the Discord of coming up with some like cool ways to use this in PvP. Maybe the tower provides some kind of effect that's, you know, in the squares around it. So there's a lot of possibility, I think, of what we could do in terms of what is offered with the scenario pack. It's basically just like the miniature, and you'll use it in the Time Twist campaign. So there'll be some things in there, but other than that, that's about it. And then we have gravestones here. These are used to indicate where heroes died. So they're decently, I guess, the backside I'm a little less excited about, but they're decently sculpted. The confusing part is exactly how you're going to use these in PvP, just because you do kind of need to track which character is which. So maybe there's like a system you could come up with like a, you know, player 1, player 2, player 3, you know, type of thing or something like that. But anyway, oh, there we go. And those are the graveyards, gravestones there. Next we have pillars, which have like these kind of, what are they? I'm not even sure exactly what that is, but like these little wrapping pieces around. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty awesome little terrain piece that you could use in, especially, you know, an RPG, which is really one of the main intents of the scenario pack. We have some banners here with lots of little skulls underneath. This is the super skull, like the skulls everywhere. Like you got a pile of skulls here, you got a pile on the banner, you got another skull up here on top. It's just skulls for days for banners there. So you have 6 banners there. And then the last things here are essentially the different special items that actually this can be used in Tanares Adventures. So you have like the key here as a special item. You could use that just to like track if you want when you're playing. And the torch is like really just in there. Good. There it goes. But you could use these instead of the tokens if you want. Some of the pieces will actually be placed on the board, so you could use those when you're playing. But you know, you're probably going to get more mileage out of these on playing an RPG. And then we have our it's like a hook basically that you're going to use. That also is a token piece in Tanares Adventures. And then the last is the book, and there's some cool stuff in there. So that is the scenario pack here, and I'll just take that out. Put this over here. All right. So I will deal with those ones later. And now the last one here, the Penumbral Pack, which is probably one of the biggest, most important boxes just because it stores pretty much everything else. Oops. Okay, so here is the Time Twist book. So this is the extra adventure that happens after Arena the Contest and after the epilogue in the Realms of Madness campaign. So you're going to want to do this all the way at the end. But anyway, lots of, I think there's 6 or 8 quests. Yeah, 8 quests in here. There's a log here on the back. We might see if we could get this as like a digital version too, but should be pretty easy to scan as well. But we can do that. And anyway, another thing I just wanted to note here is this book actually tells you how you can use the different pieces and kind of like what's coming in it. So it's a good reference one. It also talks about using like the PvP chi battle. Also talks about how to use the ninja in Tanares Adventures. Some of the other characters like Barant has some abilities that are a little bit unique. So it kind of explains some of that as well. So if you're unsure about some of those characters, you can learn it in this book. It won't be in the Tanares Adventures book, rule book. So check there. Okay, and then this first tray here is the storage tray for all the other stuff that we saw. You have the Penumbral Dragon on the cover here, and then basically you're going to put all of these in there. The enhancement document tells you exactly where all of that's going to go. And miniatures everywhere. So we have the other Penumbral monsters. I believe this one is Anger here. All of them are basically, so the Penumbral monsters are all created from the emotions of the people of Tanares. So when they have these strong emotions, these types of monsters are created in the Penumbral plane. I forget every single one, you know, like which name and things, but there's basically like an anger, greed, envy, and is that fear? Yeah, I think fear is one. I think this one here, let's see. I think this one might be envy because he's got a big eye. And, you know, I guess that's how you envy things, is just really looking at them with a big eye. Anyway, so that is him. There's another one there. There's 2 of those, 2 of the bigger tall ones. Here is the Penumbral Dragon as a boss versus boss character pad there. So you can use that. And all these other ones got thrown around. And then we have, I think this one might actually be Fear. Could be wrong on that, but anyway, this is another one of the Penumbral monsters here. Lots of skulls. Gotta have skulls. Here are their villain cards. Like I said, anything that you see as a level 4 means that it is coming in the Time Twist campaign. So you may want to keep this potentially separate, but that's kind of, of course, up to you on what you're going to do. But just keep that in mind. And then some cards there. All right, I will just show this one only, but basically these are the role-specific attack cards. These are the level 4, so they are the strongest attack cards that you can currently get in the game. So the the Brute would be able to use this one and do quite a bit of damage there. This is a primary attack. It says 23 damage. You may strike the target again. Once per turn, you must apply the drawback again, even if the second strike misses. And you take damage equal to the natural roll numbered when striking. So there's a little bit of downside using this card. But anyway, so that is, and there's all of those for the different character, the different roles. And that is what is coming in there. We have some other ones here. Here's one of the other penumbral monsters. It's kind of like a lizard almost, with an eye for a tail. Because they like looking and watching. Apparently, everyone likes doing that. All right, and then you have level 4 weapons here. So Hammer of the Titan, +4 to your roll, and then +20 damage on hit. So you're going to do a lot. And then this Penumbral Arena, I believe, is going to be used for the chi battle. So that is the... Oh, wow. I can't believe I almost forgot this. This is the painted Penumbral Dragon here. Definitely the squiddy... Eldritch type monster here on top of this big spiky rock. Everyone's got spikes and tentacles and all that fun stuff. And then his wings are actually kind of shredded up. It's kind of cool. It reminds me a little bit of the undead dragon. And then he's got the big tentacle here. The coloring is okay. I'm not really super crazy about it. I feel like there could be a lot brighter colors on this one, especially like maybe some of these tentacles. I'd say especially these ones in the back. It's like maybe it's a really, really dark purple, but I think it's really more of a black, and it just doesn't give it much definition. So you might want to go over, if you get something like mine, you might want to go over with some lighter purples or something to kind of give it some more pop. But this is the painted version. Like I said in my previous video, the painted version is essentially just to get something on the table painted, and you just don't have to worry about that. So that is the Penumbral Pack there. And I'm going to be storing all of that eventually here. But with that, that is the it of the unboxing of the board game Wave. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.